Is this thing on? Welcome to Rebooted the Podcast. I'm your host, Alita Hernandez. Come join me weekly to hear about my journey from recovery to healing after having a stroke and other life challenges. So let's get talking. Just not remove, yeah. Click there. Oh, we're already there. Oh, we're already on. Hey, everybody. We're at the new studio. Alita Hernandez here, Rebooted the Podcast. It's been a while. I did a little live last week just to say hi and why I've been gone for a couple of months because it's been hectic. We opened up this great new studio here. So I have a special guest, as you see right next to me, Yesse Leyva. Hi, Yesse.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. So I invited Yesse today. We've known each other for years, and we keep going in like this full circle. So I don't see her for a couple of years, and then bam,
Back. There we are again. Yes, and that. There's a purpose for that, I think.
Yes, exactly. It's just so funny how that happens, you know. And so I opened this great studio with JC. We rented out for venues, and of course here I got this lovely podcast studio where I can interview anybody who wants to come in and be interviewed on the podcast or on the magazine. And we joined forces to do a great event this Saturday. It's going to be a Valentine social, like a family social, and it is inclusive, which I mean is that we're inviting the community of people who are disabled in any way, mentally, autism, different things like that. Yesse will elaborate more on what she does and how and what the social will be more about. But it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to go to you now and just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you started this conclusion.
Sure. So I'm all about raising awareness, right? Raising awareness of what people with disabilities can do and can achieve, and also educating the community of those with no disabilities on, what do you do when you're around people with disabilities? What services can you provide? How can you help one another in a community? We live in a community that's so divided that it's kind of like we have all these different groups when we fail to realize we are one community of just a whole melting pot of different people, right? And so Funclusion is to promote inclusion of persons with disabilities through entertainment, which is really interesting that I somehow got into the entertainment world because that was not my intention. But I love it. And it's to say, you know what, we have a disability, but we have talents, we have skills, and we want an opportunity. I think probably as back as I've known you guys, I got an opportunity for a red carpet event, and I started doing hosting and MC. As a person with a disability, you don't see that very often. So I'm one of those that it's like, oh, you don't see it? Okay, here I am, with the voice to say, look, it's okay to come out. It's okay. And it's necessary that you come out and include yourself in these things or in these events, activities. And so that's what Funclusion is all about. It's like, so many talents are out there that we have not discovered that need jobs, by the way. They need jobs. They need money. And all we're asking for is an opportunity. And the best way to do that is to be out there to educate. In the meantime, as we're getting out there is educating, and by using our experience and our talents, then we open the door for someone else, the next person behind us, right? So
Correct.
that's what that's all about. And I also include my company, which is Disability Programs and Training, where we provide services to individuals with disabilities to become independent. So you're working, now what? What about the benefits? Am I going to lose my Medicaid or my Social Security? How do I apply? So it's filling the gaps of that individual with a disability to, I say, become independent, but I've learned that we are actually interdependent in the community, right? So what does that mean for you? What is your version of independence means? Who is your community? And how can you use that community to be the best version of yourself? That's what disability programs and training is all about. All ages, all disabilities, from neurological disorders to physical disabilities to you name it, from 0 to 100. And I think that it's so important. Early intervention is so important that we get our young adults, our teens, before they exit the school system for a more successful future. And when we talk all the time, it takes events like these and activities as such, and people like yourselves that perhaps might not be affected by a disability directly, but have the willingness to learn and understand. And that's where the true difference comes in. I always say I can advocate until I can advocate no more, but which I will, by the way. But when someone else does that, perhaps on my behalf or on the behalf of others that are in need, that's when I'm like, yes, because they're listening. My voice matters. You know what they see. What yes, what I mean, I what they see in what we're doing and the work that we're doing matters, and that's what it's all about. So I encourage you guys to come out, next Saturday and support. It's this Saturday. I say next Saturday, this Saturday. Come out and support. And it's a family, it's chill day, super family oriented. And again, it's community, right? We're here. We want you to know what we're doing, the services that we're providing, and really just have a fun time. Yeah, a lot of times we're kind of on the side when it comes to Valentine's Day, which just passed. And we can talk about that a whole nother day. But it's Valentine's Day. And what do we all want? The need to be included and the need to be loved, right? So why not do that in celebrating our talents, our skills in family and friends, and meet new people? We don't have to live in isolation. Disability doesn't mean, you know, go about on your own. On the contrary, we need people, we need community to be successful and live like everyone else. So that's what it's all about.
Exactly. I know that's awesome, Jesse. That's so awesome. And I just say, like, briefly, when I got sick, when I had the stroke, so I had a brief moment in my life that I was disabled, that I was not functioning at 100%. And it was very difficult. I, f- I found it so difficult. I was in pain and I couldn't walk right. I remember I would have to park and there was no parking. So I would have to park like halfway down really far and like limp all the way to where I had to go, or just it was just basic things that I had to relearn because I had the stroke, so it affected me, but it makes you think about it. It really does. And you live, all every day. Every day.
That's a moment. It was a moment in your life, and you got to experience, from where you started to getting better, rehabilitation.
Right.
Now imagine that for a lifetime. And all the accommodations, the services that are needed, the insurance situations. How do I apply? What's out there? It's so much that you're already, I want to say dealing with, but you're already living with whatever that disability has become.
Right.
Now you got to worry about, okay, how do I move forward? Because, and that's something I talk about all the time. As a person with a disability, I was born with my disability.
Right.
For somebody that acquires a disability due to an injury, due to a stroke, that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it takes a lot. And so that's where the awareness comes in, right?
Because you have to deal with now people who have now become handicapped for some reason, like veterans. Veterans is a perfect example. I see them on TV all the time. They're missing both limbs. They're whatever. They're lost an arm. We have so many different things, and that you have to go through the mental. Now you have to go through, besides everything, is mental, emotional. It's all of it, because now you have to know, how do I live like this, and where do I get help? I don't know what to do.
It's interesting you say that because it starts with the mental. All of it, if you think about it, starts with the mental. So where were you prior to your disability, or where were you, growing up with your disability versus where are you now from a mindset perspective? And I have this shirt on, yes, with Yesse, because for me everything is yes. If you can't run, walk. If you can't pull, drag it, but figure it out. That's the mindset I was raised in. But it's difficult, right? Um so what do you do when it comes to your mindset? Is you have to be positive, right? But what does that mean? So again, community, knowing that there's help out there, knowing that there's service providers that can help you. Just one phone number of that one person can literally change your life and your mindset of what that disability has become. So it's knowing that you don't have to do life alone. Nothing has changed other than the fact that you have acquired this disability or are now living with this disability, and you have to do things differently, right? But from a more wholesome perspective, you still have community, you have family, you have friends, so and we tend to isolate ourselves, even myself, to be honest with you, living with a disability. Oh no, I got it. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good, because you don't want to be a burden to anybody else. And so again, that's what community is all about. That's for me, and I get goosebumps when I say it. That's what I would love for people to get from this upcoming event that we're having, and just from just being connected to us in any ways. You don't have to do life alone. It doesn't have to be that heavy. It is not that serious. It's serious, but together we can get further. Together we can do more, and that's something that I will be forever grateful for. Community, for the mentors. Mentors are everything. Just those people that understand, and if they don't understand, take the time to learn to understand. Right, that's everything, and that's most of the time that's all we ask for. That one person that'll understand. So I'm grateful for that. Being able to work with the people, being involved in church, it's everything to me. Doing radio and all those things that we love to do. Don't ever forget the things that God has called you to do to take you to where He needs to take you. So regardless of your experience.
No, that's awesome. And it's just everybody has to understand that we all have the same blood running through our veins. We're all human beings and we all deserve love and affection and compassion and empathy and so much other I can say. And doing this event is just bringing the community together. That's what we're trying to do here, and we're going to be doing different events here in different capacities like that, but just for the community. We had a great artist showcase. We're having another one in March. That's going to have different artists come up. There's a competition, so we wanted to do things like that. You don't realize how many artists there are here just in Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding area is amazing. And we had about 8 or 9 artists, and they were all good. Like they were all really good. So we were just talking about that. We're gonna try to do. We're gonna well not we're gonna try. We are gonna do. Terrible word. No try. You try. You do. You do it. So we're going to have an artist showcase for our kids, our young teenagers or young adults that can perform, can sing, or maybe play an instrument or something.
Any talent that they might have, whether it's musically, whether it's spoken word poetry. It's one of my favorites. And to know that you if you don't put yourself out there, no one's going to discover you. Therefore, you're not going to be able to use your talent. So it's providing platform. And that's something I think that we're working on filling the gap with what we're doing together, and Funclusion and different collaborations. We just did Future Floristic Funclusion with a friend of mine, Quick the Poet, for 2 years now. Amazing, and going to places like the Broward Center for the Performing Arts. Like, who would have ever thought, in my mind, little old me at the Broward Center, but and I appreciate that collaboration. It's awesome. So that's coming up really soon on May 20th as well. And it's providing those opportunities throughout the year and knowing that it's available. And when you guys out there ask me, hey, how do you do this, or how do you go, just go. Just go. Just ask questions. Just invite yourself. Just go. And so that's what it's all about.
Yeah, just come out and hang out, talk to us. I'm learning a lot of things too. When I grew up, I had a cousin. Like I don't know how it was like. When in Puerto Rico and in Latin country, we have cousins and cousins and cousins. It was like a cousin of a cousin, but their child. I don't know if he was autistic or what his actual mental state was, but he wasn't communicating. He didn't communicate. He just made sound. And I remember I was a little girl. And I was scared. I didn't know why. Why is he like that? Why is he different? And he would come over and smile, and go hi, and he would be all happy. And I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't know how. And nobody explains things. It's like I don't know if you were raised that way, but I was raised like if you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist, which is really really ridiculous because you need to help your children understand when a child that's say normal, right, and sees another child that's in a wheelchair, because I've seen them at the elementary school. There are a lot of little people and they're in wheelchairs, and children are curious. They're like, why? You need to need to explain that to them, and tell them, no, that's a little girl just like you, or little boy just like you, but unfortunately they were born with something that they can't do the same things you do, and then you just go from there, right? I mean,
I think making difference is okay.
Right.
is so important. Let your kids ask questions. For me, I love when kids come up and ask me questions, and they're like, "Oh, why do you walk with a cane?" And they're curious. So to me, it's a matter of using that curiosity to educate, and
Right.
then they will pay it forward and do the same
Yeah.
thing. I remember I had an opportunity as a speaker to go around elementary schools and talk about disability and differences, and it was third or fourth grade classroom. Not once did they ever say anything, negative to make fun of me or anything. They never saw the disability. I would stand there with my cane and I'm like, how are you and I different? You're a boy, I'm a girl. You have, black hair, I have blonde hair. It was those kind of differences, and I'm waving my cane in the air.
I
And none of those kids had said anything about the
know.
disability.
Wow.
That taught me hate is taught,
Yes.
and differences, the fact that we see differences in one another as children is taught some way somehow. And so let's change that and use that to educate our kids. Like, when you see somebody, say hi, how can I help you? Make it okay to be different and be that person to include.
Yeah.
To include.
Absolutely.
If we did that as young kids, myself and other advocates wouldn't have to work so hard to make
Right.
this disability the norm, because it is a norm. One of every five children are born with a disability every single day. So it is a norm, and the numbers just getting you know higher. And so that's a whole nother thing. And
Mm.
once we start to normalize it, then, as a matter of fact, once we start kind of normalizing disability, in a sense, I myself, as a person with a disability, and so many others, will feel less of a burden,
Mhm.
or less of someone that is a burden, or will feel less of, oh, you're a punishment, or what did so and so do to deserve this child. That's the narrative that I want, and I will continue to change, because it's not that someone has done something wrong. It's not that you're a punishment. You are perfectly and wonderfully made in the image of God, and it is biblical that it is the way that it is. And I didn't know that.
Mm.
And so it's so many components to the mindset, to the bringing the awareness, and to know that, again, you are a child of God. Use what you got, use what He gave you to make a difference, to make an impact. Now, the moment that we decide not to do anything at all, and just kind of, do what everybody else does, that's when there's a problem. So
Yeah.
let's start them young and educating our kids.
Yeah.
Start early.
And they need all the help they can get, because right now society, I'm not even going too far into that, but it's a little crazy. You know how every generation says it, oh, when I was young, like my grandparents did it, my parents did, now I do it. And my kids look at me like, mom, but it's true. Every generation, there's changes, there's other developments, there's technology has changed everything.
Right. I think we also have to understand that disability is not a cultural thing. This
No,
disability
no,
is
it's
across
straight.
the board,
Right.
right? So I know for the Hispanic culture, it's like, okay, well, this is my son, or this is my daughter, or this is my family member, so I got it. I'm going to take care of it. Nobody else has to deal with it.
Mm.
That's not the way it works. I would love to see that change to a community effort to take care of that individual, and it doesn't become so much of a burden, in a sense, to that particular
Yeah,
individual.
yeah.
So
There's a lot of magnitude when you have to take care of somebody that's ill, and we had this conversation about just having a place for them to go is a big deal, because even though everything's supposed to be ADA, disability associate, whatever the thing is,
ADA accessible.
right? ADA accessible, right? I was close. I was good there.
You got the ADA.
I got the ADA. I don't know what else to say. But so it's like, the ramps to come into the plaza, handicap parking outside. Sometimes there's railing, maybe a ramp inside, bars in the bathroom. Just there's certain things you can look it up online, and thank goodness we pretty much have everything. We're just doing a couple of slight modifications, but because our space is wide open, it's this space is great for everybody, and that's what we wanted. With this space is evolved, and we're still evolving in it and doing more and more things with the community. And you'll see later, there's a lot of more things coming up in the summer. Oh my gosh, you'll see little tidbits coming up soon. But I just lost my thread of thought. So anyway, it's not easy. You go to a restaurant, we can go anywhere we want. I mean, think about it. We have two legs, we have two arms, perfectly fine. We can get in the car, we can go, we can run across the street. We don't think about it. Okay. But when you're not complete, because you were born a certain way or you had an accident, whatever it
When
is,
you do things differently.
when yeah, you have to accommodate yourself in order to get. So for me to get across the street, it'll take me a certain amount of time and I can do certain things versus you would take longer and you have to accommodate to
Right.
get right. So our society
It's not.
is not equipped to accept everybody. Okay. And you go to a restaurant, you sometimes you can't even walk in. So how are you going to walk in with a wheelchair? Or you go to a concert. We went to a concert one time at a certain location here in Florida, and I was looking around and I go, I see the VIP area and I see the seats and I see people coming in wheelchairs, and I go, where's the area for the handicap?
Third floor, all the way upstairs somewhere.
And I'm like, they didn't have a space, and the man was upset.
Yeah.
And I said, he's right. And I went to the security because I knew the people that I said, you need to have a space for the handicaps. Either that or you're going to have to move the VIP. You're going to have to put them right there.
Right.
So the little things like this that you don't, I mean, it's not a little thing, it's a big deal because now more and more people have disabilities. And like you said, unfortunately, a lot of them hide, they're afraid, they don't want the stigma from society because, we could be mean. We could really be mean and see somebody and you look at them like they don't see you, that you're staring at them. Come on.
And that's so much, we want to be mean if you don't know. And I always say you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
So make it a point to know, to educate yourself and to be out there. And that's the only way. When it comes to stores, malls, restaurants, again, it has to take that first time for there to be a light bulb like, oh, I think I should make this more accessible, right? I can tell you time after time when I go in places or stores and there's no accessibility, there's no
Wow.
handicap sign anywhere, I go back to that store, better believe there's some kind of accessibility or some kind of sign, because I'm going to make it a point the nicest way possible, like, hey, look this, or they just see it most of the time, right? So they'll do it. Office Depot has done it for me, FedEx has done it, shopping centers, the yes, the changing rooms, the dressing rooms, that's my favorite. Please don't use the dressing room as a storage room for wheelchair accessibility. Please don't do that. That's my favorite one.
Oh my
But
goodness.
again, it takes one to go in there and say something for there to be a change. If you stay home and you do nothing because it's not accessible, well, you don't need it, right? Because you're staying home, so
Right.
it's not going to change. So
Right.
don't do that.
See, these things we don't think about, but it's true. I've seen that at the fitting rooms that they have the handicap one and it's all full of storage because they don't know where to put it. Well, where's the handicap person supposed to go? They have the right to shop and change and try clothes on like everybody else. So it's just being aware. And any business owners out there, think about your business. Is your business really friendly for anybody who comes in? Is it can you come in with a wheelchair? Can they use your bathroom? Can they even just come into a table, sit down and talk to you? I mean, think about it because I seen businesses and now every time I go out somewhere, I'm like, oh, how are we gonna get in here? There's no X's here. Like now I'm looking around. I start looking around going, well, that's not gonna work.
Right. And sometimes you'll think, oh, well, they know everybody's welcome here. It's a public business. They know. But do they really know? How do they know? What have you done to let people know and those with disabilities know that they are welcome? That that you're going to be welcoming them to even work there or whatever the case. So I do a lot of those trainings with disability etiquette training, hiring people with disabilities. So the help is out there, guys, for you guys to get training. So just call me. I'll help you out.
I have to get some training too, so I understand some things too. And now that we're going to work together, which I'm really excited about this social. I have food and little bites for them to eat, and just little things like that. We're gonna have a DJ. We're gonna have nice music going on.
Resources for parents.
Yes, yes. And it's just going to be awesome, and then they can see the plays. They want to have a party here, they can have a party here at another time. And we're going to try to do this every month. We're going to schedule we have to schedule next month already. So we're going to schedule the next couple of months.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, oh yeah. So we're going to schedule the next couple of months on the calendar. You'll see it on the Studio 33. Jesse, of course, will share it. We'll make flyers. And please come. And don't forget, donations are welcome. We really need donations because in order to put on the socials for them, it is a free event for the families and the children. The kids are from 4 to 6 p.m. on Saturday, and then right after will be the adults till about 10 o'clock. And anyway, and again, we'll have food in both sessions for everybody, and beverages and things like that. But donations are needed because the food is, everything's being purchased. The space availability, the food, anything else we need, promotions. So, and plus, any extra money will go to Jesse for the program, for disability program and training, so we can help other people out there as well.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And again, that's what it's all about. This is going to be the first one that we're doing here together. So for many more to come, and your support is definitely appreciated and necessary. Again, we want to include this group of people, in a sense, in our community that are out there that need help, that need services. And it literally just takes one person to say that yes. So if you guys want more information on what I do, you can go to Disability Programs and Training. That's dptsolutions.org. I also have yeswithyesse.com, and you'll get more information on statistics, on information and resources necessary for the individuals with disabilities, and just how you can help to make it a more inclusive environment for everyone.
That's awesome. Well, you got all that information. I'll make sure I put it on the link on social media and on this video also, so you can reach her and send some money over there to her. And if you send it here, don't worry, I'm going to give it to her, so it's okay. We share. So, and then I am scheduling some other interviews for the next upcoming episode. So I'm back, and I will be doing weekly episodes again. So, sorry for the hiatus, and also we're JC and I are coming out with a new show. And we're going to start interviewing some artists, local artists around town, and some famous artists, and you'll get to see that soon. And we'll probably schedule it for the next week or two once I get artists confirmed for our interview. So
make sure you get Cheyenne, okay?
I would love to get Cheyenne here. That would be awesome. There'll be a line out the street. Hey. You getting?
Me first.
I did. Yeah, that's right. You come first.
That's right.
I did get to meet him one time in Miami. I took a picture with him. I was like, "Oh, Cheyenne!"
Beautiful, guys. Beautiful. Great singer. I mean. Great
yes. Another pride of Puerto Rico. Right. There's many. We're a little island, but we go a long way. We're everywhere. So anyway, it's been awesome today. Stay tuned for next episode, and see you next time. Bye. Press the outro on the. I'll be right back. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Rebooted the Podcast to learn about each episode's guests and topics. This is your host, Alita Hernandez. See you next Tuesday.